Hey, what's up? It's the Field with Preston Hiefield. Thank you all so much for listening, liking, and subscribing on Substack, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. That's where you can find my work. Appreciate you all listening and reading the columns and the reporting as well. Got a chance to do some original local reporting out of the Les Schwab Invitational, one of the great high school basketball tournaments around the nation around the holiday time out in Portland last week. Wanted to hop on here post CFP quarterfinals. Already broke those down, gave a bunch of instant reactions, and I will preview the semifinals as well. Coming up on this pod, we will do an early Oregon-Indiana preview, an early Miami-Ole Miss preview, maybe a little Kyle Whittingham to Michigan chat at the end, and talk transfer QBs. So an all CFP pod. I thought about doing a Lamar Open or a Steelers Open, and maybe I'll throw in some takes at the end there, but primarily wanted to hit on all those topics. Just a quick CFP semifinal preview early in the week, see how everyone's feeling. I'll do another kind of bigger preview and score prediction later in the week, and then, like I say, I wanted to start here with some college football transfer QBs. So it's transfer QB season in college football, right? We got Pete Thamel, Max Olson breaking it all down for ESPN. Olson's kind of their portal guru, as Pete Thamel called him. You got Pete Nakos from On3, the new college football, college sports media brand On3, based out of the Nashville area, doing a lot of good reporting. Look at those guys' Twitter page. It's tough to keep track. Don't even know how they're keeping track of all these transfers. But basically, the big news. Two big news items dropped today is that Trinidad Chambliss, if he gets a final year of eligibility for Ole Miss, which they've already enlisted a notoriously great attorney, that he will come back to Ole Miss. That's the statement. He was asked about it prior to their first playoff game, and he basically said, I'm going to have to see what feels right or what fits best for me next year. Really left the door wide open. To me, it kind of translated to I'm going to LSU with Lane Kiffin, and who knows, maybe if they had gotten blown out against Georgia, he would have done that. But instead, they beat Georgia. He looks like the magic man that he's been all season long. Looks like the best QB in the sport that he's been all season long, in my opinion. And what do you know? He might actually come back to Ole Miss where he's playing super well. Talks about the Oxford community, talks about Coach Golding. Obviously, all the assistants, Charlie Weiss Jr. notably, will be at LSU, so he's going to lose all of those assistants. So it'll be interesting to see if he does, in fact, return to Ole Miss. But that is the reporting right now, that Trinidad is going back to Ole Miss. And that really sets the stage for every single QB in this transfer portal world known as free agency, right? Like, to me, and I think to many, and it was, proven out against Georgia, but you got a lot of QBs in the portal, right? To me, Trinidad is without question the best quarterback in the sport. There is no one else who I'd rather have than Trinidad Chambliss. Not Mendoza, not Dante Moore, not Josh Hoover, not Sam Levitt, and all those guys are really good players in their own right. Mendoza is probably going to go number one in the draft, right? But to me, in college football, I would take Trinidad over everyone. And my point about saying that is, number one, I've said that all season long, but secondly, it's that he sets the market for these other free agents right now, right? So Josh Hoover, great TCU QB, is now at Indiana, okay? Hoover was really good the last couple of years, really dual threat mobile guy. I've seen him in person twice now. Dual threat, live arm, the whole 9 yards, kind of a perfect college quarterback. Indiana, I believe, by the way, got the Harvard kid who was like number 8 on some CFP or CFB big boards for transfer QBs. Cutter Boley, I thought, was pretty good this year, even though Kentucky was awful. Goes to Arizona State. Sam Levitt, apparently today, Monday, January 5th, is at LSU getting toured around and probably getting a bunch of free everything at LSU right now, taking the pictures. Hopefully him and Lane Kiffin don't do those cringy circle recruiting pictures that with the camera going all the way around you that Brian Kelly did. And then you got DJ Lagway, who's apparently at Florida State right now. Dylan Raiola, don't know what's going on there. Austin Novosad, I believe, just my guess, will go to Kentucky and follow Will Stein to Lexington, Big Blue Nation. But the other big one is Brendan Sorsby. Okay, so to me, my portal rankings for college football QB free agents, and everyone's basically a free agent year to year, right? Which is nuts. But I would have Trinidad number 1 by a lot, and then I would have Sam Levitt number 2. I would have probably Josh Hoover number 3. And then I think you could put Sorsby at 4. There's obviously a lot of other guys. I mentioned a couple of them, but you could put Sorsby at 4. But the interesting story here is that according to Pete Nakos, I'll try to find out how to say that, he's getting paid $5 million for 1 year at Texas Tech. Texas Tech has purchased Brendan Sorsby in the portal for $5 million. That is so much money. That is so much money. And there are examples of QBs getting paid a lot. You know, I heard from a friend of a friend about Bo Nix's payment. It was probably a little over 20% of that's probably 25% of $5 million. And who knows if that's even right. But this is like the biggest public number I've ever seen for a college football player, right? And the On3 usually doesn't miss with these portal guys because, by the way, a lot of their agents are hitting up On3 to give them more pub anyway, right? And so then a college football player finds out that whoever is repping Sorsby, his agent got Sorsby a $5 million deal. They're going, dude, let me sign with that guy because that guy can get us money, right? And I just like when I see that, two things come to mind. Like, number one, that is a wild amount of money. Is that sustainable in terms of all of college football? And number two, is Brendan Sorsby actually worth $5 million, right? And I don't really think there's a way to actually quantify how much a college football player is worth in this day and age, because the answer is however much the booster is willing to pay him, right? There is no salary cap in college football. Like there is in the NFL or the NBA. Like when I hear people say, well, yeah, I mean, these young guys in the NFL and NBA are getting paid. Well, yeah, because there's a salary cap and there's very few of them at this age making this much money, right? Max guys usually get that max deal when they're like 27. It's because they're one of the very best players in the world. And obviously that max money is much bigger than $5 million a year. But $5 million a year for a college student, and by the way, like, I'm not going to call him mid. I'm not. But I did a bunch of homework on Sorsby. I've watched some tape. You want to guess what Cincinnati's record was this year? It was 7-6 with a 5-game losing streak to end the year. They lost to Navy 35-13 in the Liberty Bowl. That guy's making $5 million a year. Like, how does that encourage you? Here are the stats: 2,800 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 5 picks, great ratio. Also 580 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. He's a fast runner. He's really fast. And you know, when Fernando Mendoza went from Cal to Miami and Cam Ward went from Washington State to Miami, and there's countless other examples of guys that had very average team success and then got to a different school. Did I say Mendoza went to Miami? Sorry, he's from Miami, obviously. Mendoza goes to Indiana, from Cal. There are examples for sure, more modern examples of a QB whose team is average, then he goes to a better program and that program takes off. So that very well could be the case for Sorsby. Like last year when Mendoza went to Indiana, we were like, oh, that's good. That's probably an upgrade from Curtis Rourke. All due respect, Rourke was a really good player. Shout out to the MAC. Helped lead them to a college football playoff berth, which was unthinkable by Indiana standards, right? So I think Curtis Rourke probably has a special place in Hoosiers fans' hearts and Sig's heart. Like he was the first QB to help get them there. But Fernando was an upgrade. But at the time when he came over from Cal, and I remember watching Cal almost beat Miami and Cam Ward and Berkeley. They blew a massive lead in the fourth quarter. I remember thinking like, this guy's good. This guy's pretty dang good. And the Cal O-line like absolutely collapsed in the fourth quarter of that Miami game, so it wasn't even his fault. But I remember thinking like, yeah, this guy's pretty good, but like, okay, let's see. Let's see how it goes. And now he leads Indiana to an undefeated season. They win at Autzen. They beat Ohio State. They win the Big Ten championship. They're already in the semis, and he wins the Heisman. They blast Alabama. He was very clearly the best QB in the Big Ten this year, in my opinion, the second best QB in the sport behind Trinidad. Like, it's been an incredible year for Fernando Mendoza. So my point is, I'm not even criticizing the kind of mid stats and very, very mid record, a 7-6 Big 12 team from Sorsby. It's just that we don't actually know if he's going to be Mendoza or if he's going to be a bit more average. And so that's kind of the other point of this is Brennan Sorsby worth $5 million? And how sustainable is that? Like, if we're just tossing around money like this, I don't like, doesn't it feel like we need guardrails? I mean, Kirk Herbstreit hit on this prior to the Rose Bowl game when they did their game day from the Rose Bowl with tarps in the background, by the way. That was crazy. That was the first time I've ever seen tarps at the Rose Bowl. It was like, everyone essentially is in unanimous agreement that something needs to change, right? Like, and this is basically paraphrasing, but basically what Herbstreit said. Like, we're all in agreement that this is too much, it's too wild, it's too unregulated. Like, how do we fix it? And that is the question, because the SEC and the Big Ten have all the power right now. They have all the power, okay? They have the TV money, they have the best programs, the best fan bases, they have the control. They have the eyeballs, they have the best programs, they have the TV money, okay? So they would have to agree to help change some regulations unless, like, legitimately the President of the United States gets involved here or Congress gets involved. And by the way, Saban meets with Trump all the time, from what I understand. From reporting, he's met with Trump time and time again. Trump's come and speak. He's spoken at Alabama. Like, they are actually tight, and they meet somewhat frequently. And by that, I mean, like, once or twice a year. But Saban's been on Cap Hill, like, time and time and time again in the college football offseason. And so my point is, like, how does this get fixed? And, I'd much rather spend my time talking about, college football and everything we love about it, right? I would much rather do that. I just wanted to bring this up because when I saw that $5 million number, I was like, dude, this quarterback from Cincinnati who just went 7-6 and is on a 5-game losing streak just got $5 million. Like, that's nuts, man. And they, by the way, Levitt must have told them no, because, I mean, I guess to me anyway, Levitt's a rung above. But I just don't know how sustainable this is, man. Like, at some point, it feels like we need some guardrails here, whether that's the Big Ten and the SEC coming to an agreement to help let Congress step in. That's how a lot of college football rules and regulations have changed over the years, legitimately through Congress. The Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. Go read about it. That's why college football has its standalone college football Saturdays. It's really it's something that I think needs to get done at the government level. Like, I don't even think it's good enough for Saban to get with Greg Sankey. Like, I think it needs to change even beyond that. And I don't have a problem with the players getting paid. Like, I've been banging the drum of players should get paid. Like, players should get paid. Players should get revenue. It's really funny when Sark said, "Hey, there's actually a salary cap in college sports." This was at his press conference last week. There's actually a salary cap in college sports. No one follows it, but there is, which is true. Remember that with the new House versus NCAA settlement, the ruling was every athletic department gets $20 million to spend on name, image, and likeness every year for all of their student athletes, and it goes up a little bit every year with TV deals, inflation, etc. And everyone was like, "Yeah, right. That's a funny joke. Like we're gonna surpass that." And then Sark actually came out and said it out loud at a press conference, and he said no one abides by that rule. $20 million will buy you a quarterback and some good O-linemen and maybe a star defensive end. You're probably going to need 40 or 50 million to do what Texas Tech did this year. I think they said they spent 40 million, maybe more. Anyways, it's just, I don't know, man. It feels like there needs to be some guardrails there. And is Brendan Sorsby worth the $5 million? That's obviously TBD. And the answer is, he's worth whatever anyone's willing to pay him right now, which is $5 million. To me, that is nuts, man. I can't imagine how much money these Texas Tech boosters or A&M boosters would have paid Johnny Manziel back in the day. It probably would have been worth at least double that. Okay, here we go. Let's talk Oregon, Indiana, the rematch, round 2 of this year, semifinal stage, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. I believe it's a Sean McDonough call. Greg McElroy, love those guys. McDonough, great play-by-player. It was a 4-point spread in favor of Indiana. Now it's down to 3.5. Is the total point spread. I was going to look for the over-under really quickly to get that to you. 46.5 is the over-under, and it's kind of waffling back and forth between 4 and 3.5 on the point spread there. But let's preview this puppy. Indiana is the team to beat in the sport right now. Period. It's crazy to say. We've all been kind of grappling with it. It's been like, now, are they? Well, they beat Oregon at Autzen. Damn, respect. Are they? Well, they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. Damn. All right, yeah, they're for real. All right, let's see what they got against Alabama. The SEC, They beat them by 5 touchdowns, 38-3. That was an insane result at the Rose Bowl. To use Kirk Herbstreit's words, Herbie's obviously been around the game his whole life. He's called, I think, a record 18 Rose Bowls or 16 Rose Bowls. He used the words embarrassing on the live TV broadcast. He said, this is embarrassing for Alabama, which is true. Like, Indiana took their soul. They outrushed them 215-23. That is unthinkable that Indiana outrushed Alabama by almost 200 yards, held them to 23. And I know Bama hasn't been able to run all year. They haven't been able to run all year. Totally get it. Jam Miller didn't play. Totally get it. Kalen DeBoer, not a very good coach with the running game. Totally get it. He's a pass-first coach. Does not fit Alabama at all. It's very weird to see his style of coaching at Alabama. It can work, but they don't possess the ball very well. They don't control the ball on the ground at all. But that's a huge credit to Indiana. And by the way, Indiana did that without Haley and without Wyatt. Their 2 best D linemen who are like all-American dudes, in my opinion. Wyatt got hurt in October. Haley got hurt. You've probably seen it by now, the viral video of him just jumping up kind of lightly to high-five a fan after the Big Ten title game in Indy. Comes down hard on his ankle/leg, and he gets hurt, and he's probably out for the season too. Like, these guys are out for the year. They obviously do have Hardy, the great linebacker, Aiden Fisher, who is, oh my God, he is... Him and Rodriguez, man, those are the 2 best linebackers I've seen this year. Had a chance to see him live around Thanksgiving time. He is as good as you would think he is in person. Obviously, Pons and Moore are nasty safeties. They can hit so hard. Pons ended up jacking up Ty Simpson so hard that he had to come out of the game in the Rose Bowl. So they got dudes on dudes on dudes. Bryant Haynes, I believe, is the DC. Shanahan's the OC. These are coordinators who have been with Cignetti for a bit now, and they got re-signed to contract extensions in the offseason. So Indiana's here, and they are for real. And in my opinion, they are absolutely a rung above everyone else left in the playoff. Love Trinidad. He's probably the best QB left in the playoff. He's amazing. We all love Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor and just that entire Miami team. Mark Fletcher, the running back, and Malachi Toney, the receiver. They've really found something with those guys, especially Fletcher down the stretch, who didn't have that good of a regular season, and now he's suddenly a monster in the playoffs. And we love Bain and Mesidor. Those guys absolutely wreck games. Like, they absolutely wreck games, end games, win games, etc. But to me, Indiana's the team to beat in the field. They're plus 130 right now to win the title. I think that's probably a pretty good, I don't want to call it safe bet, because of course they can lose any of these games. They're only a field goal favorite in this game, 3.5. But I think they are a rung above everyone, and they've proven that all season long, and especially by dominating Alabama by 35 in the Rose Bowl game. And Curt Cignetti's magic is that he humbles his players quick. That is part of his magic. I mean, he's got all the X's and O's down. He's got the back shoulder throws, the RPOs, everything that makes their offense so dangerous schematically. But he also has the ability to just humble his team. Like, did you watch Curt Cignetti after they won the Big Ten title game? No one thought they were going to win that game. Flashback, Ohio State's undefeated. Ohio State's the favorite. No one thought Indiana was going to win their first Big Ten title since '67. After the game, after they win, you would think Cignetti's jumping around, high-fiving people, maybe even lifting his arms up in the air in happiness. No Gatorade bath, no smile. Straight up, looks like this. Just takes the headset off, cool, calm, collected, job's not finished energy. That is Curt Cignetti, and that is part of the magic of Cignetti, is he humbles his players so well. Like, you can tell, it's obviously awesome that he has Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, who is just seems like a great leader. He's 22, he's older, he's experienced. He's a process-oriented guy, a detail-oriented guy, and you wonder if Cignetti got some of that from Saban. I watched their Peach Bowl presser, him and Lanning. They were asked about what did Nick Saban mean to you, and he talked about how incredibly detailed he was and how he has a plan for everything from recruiting to preparing to just daily habits, everything like that. It's crazy that all 4 coaches rubbed shoulders with Saban at some point. Pete Golding was the DC for Bama for 4 or 5 years there. Obviously, Mario Cristobal, O-line coach there, and then Cignetti, QB, receivers, recruiting, and Dan, GA at Alabama once upon a time, and then learned under Smart as the DC eventually for Kirby Smart, who's obviously kind of the Saban disciple that everyone points to with his recent natties. But I just got all the respect in the world for the way that Cignetti humbles his team. I think that's a huge element of this. I really do. It's like that Chip Kelly energy. We don't care at all what happened last game. We're on to Cincinnati. Bill Belichick. We're on to whoever. This is our most important game ever. This is what we're focused on. Like, he is so good at channeling that next man up mentality, and next game up mentality, and doesn't let his team get too high at all. Humbles them, I'm sure, in the film room, etc. Obviously, Dan Lanning and Oregon playing really well right now. 23-0 over Texas Tech. They only had one offensive touchdown in the game until they scored with like 10 seconds left or 30 seconds left in that Texas Tech game in the Orange Bowl, but absolutely suffocated Texas Tech, right? 23-0. Tech, it never felt like that. They missed like a 50-yard field goal, but it never felt like they had a chance to do much damage. And again, I've said this. I've tried to tell people this all year long. Like, Baron Morton he broke his leg basically in week 1. He was hobbling around this year. He's better than that. He's more mobile than that, but he wasn't really able to show that mobility much, partially due to the injury, and then also because Oregon's D-line just had Texas Tech's O-line in an absolute pretzel. There was that play where the left tackle for Tech, like, it was a shotgun play. He actually started pulling like it was a run play, and Blake Purchase just ran right by him and then just leveled Baron Morton. And that looked like that hurt. Obviously, you had the Mateo strip sack and recover and run the other way with it play. That was just sensational. You had Tatum Tuioti living in the backfield, Amari Washington living in the backfield and knocking down passes, Betcher flying around. I mean, the Oregon defense is playing sensational right now. I mean, to donut a team in a college football playoff game, that's insane. I think someone had said it happened twice before. I remember the Saban Michigan State game where he beat them 35-0. I think it's maybe happened one other time before, as I'm trying to rack my brain quickly. But to donut a team is nasty work, man. So Oregon's defense is playing at a sensational level right now. When you talk about the rematch in particular, I mean, both teams have probably changed a lot since that first meeting back in early October. Both coaches were asked about that in their press conference. They weren't super... They weren't going to give a lot of details of what coverages have changed or whatnot. Cignetti was asked about what coverages and routes have changed on his team, and he was basically like, I'm kind of hesitant to answer that. We've got portal guys on campus right now. I got to study some more tape to figure out what exactly that would be from the Oregon perspective. But Cignetti's locked into his team's offense and kind of the motivation factor behind it. I'm sure he lets the DC take care of that. But I guess what I'm getting at is, I think the Oregon defense has gotten much better. I think the offense has improved, but that would be my worrisome part with the Oregon team is it just hasn't been very good when you need it offensively this year. I mean, 13 points against Indiana offensively, 17 in regulation against Penn State, 18 against Iowa with that last-second field goal. You basically had 16 against Texas Tech until you scored with 30 seconds left. Like, it's been kind of shaky for Oregon this year. It hasn't been very good, particularly in the passing game. Like, that 4th and 2, Kenyon Sadiq was wide open, and Dante Moore looked at him and just didn't throw him the ball. And you kind of wonder if maybe Dante Moore was thinking, like, all right, we're going to win this game if I just don't throw a pick 6 or a pick. Just don't even risk it. And maybe that's why he played conservative, because it felt like Oregon played so conservative offensively in the Texas Tech game. And again, massive credit to Texas Tech. I said this in my reaction video, but like that D-line is nasty, man. Lee Hunter, so good. David Bailey, so good. Height, so good. J-Rod, obviously maybe the player of the year in the sport. Won every single Nagurski defensive award that was possible, basically. Like, he's been... Their defense is just nasty. All those guys are senior transfers. So we'll see how they do next year. I saw they already got San Diego State's edge. I think Trey White is his name. So I'm sure they'll reload in the portal market. But when you talk about the rematch, man, I mean, I think I want to say that Oregon is just playing with a little more momentum right now, and they're a little bit more equipped to hang in there. Obviously, Indiana's fresh off a 35-point victory in the Rose Bowl, so that's a lot of momentum too. But it does feel like Indiana is the same team every week, and Oregon's a little bit more inconsistent, but can reach highs at times. Like, dude, they went from giving up 34 to JMU to 0 against Texas Tech. And again, obviously the JMU game, it was out of hand early. Oregon was up 34-3 in the blink of an eye, so they got, maybe complacent on defense, wanted to rest up, wanted to just like not get hurt, knowing that they had a long road ahead of them. I understand that. But, I feel like Indiana's been a bit more consistent. If I'm Oregon this year, or in this game, like my game plan absolutely is to run the ball with Jordan Davison. Like, they didn't have a ton of success with Noah Whittington against Texas Tech. I mean, no one really has success on the ground against Texas Tech, period. But Jordan Davison is 235 pounds. He's a true freshman. Like, that dude is a bulldozer. I would probably try to run the ball and shorten the game if I'm Oregon, only because I think Indiana has a pretty significant advantage at quarterback, and certainly a significant advantage in the passing game as a whole. I mean, their passing game is so good, dude. Their big three all scored touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, right? Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., and Charlie Becker. They all scored, and Bama wasn't stopping it. And I know Oregon's probably got a better secondary than Bama this year, especially Brandon Finney. That dude looks like a lock to be a first-round pick right now, which is crazy as a true freshman. He was sensational. I love the way he keeps his eyes on the QB, comes off the ball, comes off a receiver to make a play, comes off a receiver to make a hit in the run game. He's really supportive in the run game as well. His end zone, or his interception in the end zone in the corner there, was instincts and just looking the QB in the eye. Apparently it wasn't like a zone play or anything, but he just followed the QB, dropped back, and Jerry Mixon was trailing the receiver, and he was able to pick it off in the end zone and then takes a knee right away. I know Lanning commented that was his favorite part of the play, is that he was, he had the wherewithal. He was impressive enough from a maturity standpoint to not try to run the ball out of the end zone and put the offense in a bad spot. Instead, he took a knee, got him out to the 20. So can't say enough good things about Brandon Finney Jr. in that game. Also had the fumble recovery and that first pick where he just undercut the ball. Like, the dude's sensational. I think he was the one with the pick six against Indiana, right? He is, as a true freshman, man. They got a lot of freshmen in the secondary, right, who are really impressive. Iffy offered. I know that McNutt got hurt in the offseason, but like, he was a 5-star guy. They got a lot of freshmen who are really good. I think Lopez a redshirt freshman maybe, but Flowers as well is a freshman. Like, dude, they have so many good freshmen in that secondary. But just talking about the rematch in particular, man, I mean, I think Indiana is they're just a well-oiled machine right now, man. I would not pick against them, but I do think if Oregon can get the ground game going better, if you look back, I'll pull up the stats here from the first meeting. So Indiana won 30-20. Obviously, Oregon gets the pick six. And again, that game was tied at 20 late, right, with 7 minutes left. Like, if the defense gets another stop there, Oregon gets the ball back with the chance to take the lead, and then Moore has a ball tipped and then eventually picked, and they get a field goal out of it, so it's 30-20. But that was a tie game, like the whole game, practically, or within one score, like the whole game. I mean, Oregon's defense played pretty dang well in that game. Mendoza finished 20 of 31, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. They only ran the ball for 111 yards on 3 yards a carry. That's actually really good. Indiana loves running the ball. They run it more than 50% of the time. They average over 200 yards a game. They love running the ball. So to hold them to 111 is actually really, really good. And I think Oregon will try to do that again. Conversely, though, Oregon only ran for 81 yards the first time around, 2.7 yards a carry. Davison, 8 carries, 59 yards. I think he tried to double that. Give him 16 or 20 carries. I mean, he's a bulldozer, and that's what's going to beat this team. It's like playing an NFL team. I can't describe how their D-line is so good, especially with their 2 stars now out, which should help Oregon. But everyone's in the right position all the time, and that's it's tough to deal with. And the way you probably deal with that is just trying to slam the ball forward. Like the NFL, the reason they love big running backs is because they can slam the ball forward for a couple of yards. And that's what I would try to do if I was Oregon. I think also, Dante Moore's probably going to have the game of his life, to be real. He's been fine. He's been fine this year. It hasn't looked good a lot of the time, especially against the elite teams. Mendoza, obviously the opposite. He's looked incredible. He threw for less than 200 yards against Alabama. That is the best performance I've ever seen of a QB who threw for under 200 yards in a game. Like, that is so deceiving, that stat line. Like Mendoza, I think he was 14 of 16, maybe broke the all-time completion percentage record in a Rose Bowl game. He was so good. 190-something yards is so deceiving. The scrambles that he made, the deep throw to Surratt, the throw to Cooper Jr. when it mattered, the layered throw to Becker. Like, dude, he was on one in that game. Obviously, their ground game helped balance him out, but So I think that's what Oregon does. I think they kind of actually sell out against the run because that's what Indiana wants to do most is they want to run the ball. And I'd also take the points. That'd be my other point here is, dude, if you're Oregon, take the points, man. 4th and 2 at the 20, take the points, kick the field goal. Don't try to convert the 4th down. I mean, you tried against Texas Tech a couple times, and it kind of backfired. Like, the passing game has not been consistent enough. Dante Moore has simply not been consistent enough to show you that you can get that 4th and 2. You'll obviously have to take chances late in the game if you're down 6 or something or more, and it's a 4th down. But, like, early on, dude, if you can get 3 points with a really, really good kicker in Atticus Sappington, who connected again from 50-plus against Texas Tech. I know he missed a shorter one, but, dude, take those points. Like, win 9-6, win 13-12, win 20-17. Like, I honestly think the under is a really good play here from a betting perspective. Let me pull it up again one more time. It's either 46 or 48, 46.5. Dude, I love that under. I'm thinking, I'll give you a final score prediction. Well, I'll just say it right now. I will go 20-17 Ducks in an upset, but I do think that Indiana is likely to win this game. But you know me, I'm a Duck, so I got to go 20-17 Ducks. But I'll do a further breakdown and a further prediction later in the week. But that's kind of how I see it early. If you're Oregon, man, run the ball, take the points, and try to take away their run and be down for a slugfest of a game. Okay, let's finish up with some Miami-Ole Miss conversation, the other semifinal. By the way, how good are these semifinals, man? Either the U feels back with Cristobal by winning a title, right, because that's what's going to officially stamp it, or Trinidad and Ole Miss do the unthinkable and win a national title, the first ever for Ole Miss in the modern era since the early 60s when you would just claim them. The first ever national title for Ole Miss when their coach left them before the postseason run. Oregon would have their first ever natty, and Indiana would have their first ever natty. Like, those are just 4 great stories, man. Like, I did my SEC versus Big Ten chat earlier, but seeing Georgia and Bama lose in the postseason in the same day and Ohio State just a couple hours earlier that previous night, like, the 3 Blue Bloods losing within a span of 24 hours of each other in the postseason was just like, hey, man, it's a new era. Like, it's even a new era now from what it was 2 years ago in terms of the transfer portal madness, the NIL madness, and these programs like Indiana, obviously brilliantly coached. I think Cignetti's probably the best coach in the sport right now, but if the portal doesn't exist, they can't do this, right? Like, they're getting their best players all through the portal for the most part. Texas Tech was a little bit more homegrown, but a lot of those guys on the defense were purchased in the offseason. Like, But this is the new era, man. Use the portal. The legislation as it's currently written, Indiana can hang around for as long as anyone, really. Now that you don't have to grow the players yourself, you can just kind of get them from the portal and groom them into your system. Tech and Indiana are going to hang around, man, because they have the booster money and the coaches in place to do that. But to talk Miami and Ole Miss, speaking of booster money, Miami, and I guess Ole Miss, apparently Trinidad's coming back. I did a little bit on that earlier in the show. Like, talking about this matchup, man, I think coming into the postseason, we all thought Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, they were tremendously disruptive players. Like, from the first game of the season, Labor Day weekend against Notre Dame, it was like, oh, that D-line is different. Them in Oklahoma with R. Mason Thomas and Kip Lewis, the linebacker, and the rest of those guys, like, those two fronts were just different this year. But, it wasn't enough for Oklahoma. And then with Miami, it's like that won them the game against A&M. They won 10-3. No one scored a touchdown until the final minute of the game. Like that, those two guys absolutely won them the game. Then against Ohio State, obviously you have the Keontae Scott epic pick six, and then just a dominant day from the defense where Ohio State, again, facing an elite opponent, couldn't really move the ball well, and all credit to Miami because that defense is just locked in, man, led by those two guys. And I think if you're Ole Miss, like that, that's, thinking about this game, like Ole Miss could win if Trinidad goes crazy, because I think Trinidad is just the most electric player in the sport right now offensively. He had 7 plays in that Georgia game where I was like, how did he do that? And none of them really resulted in a touchdown, but they would result in gains and crazy escapes. And most quarterbacks would have taken a 12-yard sack, and instead he puts together a 7-yard gain or a 10-yard gain out of it. Like, that is the magic of Trinidad with his legs, and then obviously his arm and his vision downfield. So I think he can escape Bain and Mesidor for sure. But those guys are a step up from what Georgia brought in. Those guys are different. Bain's going to be, a surefire top 10 pick in every mock I've seen anyway. And Mesidor's right there too. So those guys are different. But also Trinidad is different compared to the guys that Miami's had to face, all right? Like, Sayan's not an overly mobile guy. Marcel Reed is, but they were able to be disruptive enough. And I think Trinidad's just a completely different class of quarterback. So it's going to be fascinating, man. I absolutely can't wait to watch that battle of Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor against Trinidad. Where my thought goes first is that I always lean in big games, championship caliber games. Do you want the better offense or the better defense? I still say you want the better defense. I would rather have a dominant D-line because I think you're just going to be more consistent with that. Ole Miss has been very up and down defensively this year, even though Golding is now the new head coach. I would lean with the more consistent defense. Miami's a 1.5 point favorite. It's basically a coin flip. This is a Thursday night game. Let me see if I can get the over-under for you real fast. I just had that pulled up. Dang it. Wow, it's up to Miami -3 now. It was 1.5 literally this morning. 6:30 p.m. Central Time, ESPN Thursday night. Over-under is 51.5. I mean, it's going to take elite offense and elite defense, man. There's no other way around it. It's going to take a lot for Ole Miss. It's going to take the best game of their season again to win. I'm tempted to go with Trinidad because I just think he's that special. I think he's that special, but I will say that Miami just has a better defense and a more balanced team. I think they've really found something with this Mark Fletcher running back who only had about 800 rushing yards in the regular season, but he's been a force in the postseason. And obviously we all know about Malachi Toney and just his elite speed. And it just feels like that D-line is going to carry Miami into the title game. Will it be good enough to get by Indiana or Oregon? Who knows? Will it be good enough to get by Ole Miss? Who knows? But I think I'm sorry I don't have any crazy insight for you. This is the early week preview. I'll do a more elaborate preview later on in the week, but at the moment I'm leaning Miami. Early score prediction, and I'll probably revise this later in the week, but I'd say early score prediction is that Miami wins something in the neighborhood of 27 to 22. I'll go 27-22. Miami gets a win and a cover. That's the early thought on that one. All right, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you later on in the week.